Week 12 of the college football season was pretty crazy. We had some upsets. We had enough to move the Miami Hurricanes up to the 13th spot in the college football playoff committee poll. But let's see how this week went and let's recap it. Let's get into it. Yo! What is going on, everyone, and welcome to Storm the Field with DJ. I am DJ, of course, and today we are going to be recapping week 12 of the college football season. But before we get into that, most of you who watch my videos are not subscribed, so if you guys could just check down below that you are subscribed, that would be greatly appreciated. Also, while you're down there, why not like the video and hit the comments? The comments, they're super good. We can talk there. I can respond to comments. I usually do. But yeah, let's get into it. Week 12, pretty crazy. Let's start off with Friday night, where we had Oregon playing Minnesota, and they took care of business. We're going to talk about a little bit of that one there, just because I'm an Oregon fan, and that's what we do on this channel. But the main one I really want to talk about is Clemson beating number 20 Louisville. Now, this game it locks Louisville out of the ACC championship race, and definitely out of the playoffs after having 3 losses, and they dropped out of the top 25 for the AP poll. Final score was 20-19. Louisville was actually favored throughout most of the game. It's just until the end that Clemson really pulled it back and really changed it. Kate Klubnik did not have a great game either. This is bad for Miami, because now Miami has 2 unranked losses, but it knocks Louisville out of the ACC race, giving Miami a better chance to make it there. And that was a pretty big upset. It sneaks past because of a botch punt snap and a goal line stand. At least according to ESPN. I didn't watch that game. I was too busy watching the game between my Oregon Ducks and the Minnesota Golden Gophers. This game, Oregon took care of business like they do. 42-13 was the final score. Ducks now 9-1 on the season. Dante Moore had an incredible game. 27 completions on 30 attempts for 306 yards and 2 touchdowns. Noah Whittington active on the ground as always. 8 carries for 72 yards and a touchdown. Jordan Davison also went off. 7 carries, 57 yards, 2 touchdowns. We even got Jay Harris. And this is all without our starter wide receiver, DeCorian Moore, and Evan Stewart now, because Evan Stewart's rumored to return. We'll see if that one happens. But Kenyon Sadiq, Jamari Johnson, Malik Benson, Jeremiah McClain, they have all taken up their receptions, and it's really allowed this Oregon team to flourish, even in these games that are easier, yet they are. I mean, Minnesota's not a bad team. They were 6-3 by the time they played Oregon. That's 2 losses worse, and their losses came to Ohio State, Cal, and Iowa, and they also have a win over Nebraska. Let's not forget about that. They have a win over Nebraska, who is a top 25 ranked team in the country. Moving on, the biggest one I think of this week, there was a close game. Florida Ole Miss 10-point game. Ole Miss really pulled off in the second half. In the fourth quarter, they took the lead. At halftime, it was 24-20 Florida. So they really took care of business after that. Notre Dame really took care of business against Pitt. Georgia Tech wins a close one against Boston College, a 1-10 Boston College. So not great news for the Jackets, but they do squeak away with a win, and a win is a win in college football. USC beats Iowa, giving Iowa their 4th loss on the season, knocking them out. And now this game against Oregon coming up in week 13 is even bigger than before. Then we have probably the biggest one, Texas A&M, South Carolina. South Carolina led 30-3 at halftime, and Texas A&M comes back with a very strong third quarter where they score 21 points, and then 7 in the fourth to come back and win the game 31-30. Marcel Reed, bad first half, great second half, threw for over 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. Casey Concepcion over 150 yards receiving as well. Then we have Oklahoma, Alabama. Oklahoma beats Alabama in Tuscaloosa to hand the Tide their first SEC loss of the season, their first loss since week 1 of the college football season. John Mateer did not play well, 15 for 23 or 138 yards. However, the defensive stands by Oklahoma were impressive. They did not allow Ty Simpson to really do much on the ground like he usually does. 8 carries for -9 yards. The air, he was a little bit more fortuitous. He had 28 completions for 326 yards, um, which is pretty good, but still not great. That's around 60, 70%. I'm 70%, I think. I don't know. Can't do math that quick in my head. Uh, but yeah, Oklahoma was able to make that stand and really take care of business against the Tide. And then the Dogs took on the Longhorns, and the Horns went down as Georgia wins this one 35-10. A big win for the Dogs here, keeping them in contention for the SEC while knocking out Texas in the process. Gunnar Stockton, amazing game, 24 for 29, 229 yards, 4 touchdowns in this game for Gunnar Stockton through the air. Arch Manning didn't play well. I really do think he just needs a little bit more time to develop. 27 of 43, 251 yards, only 1 touchdown, but an interception as well. What really realistically kept Texas in this game, because Georgia really only pulled away in the fourth quarter, was their defense. Texas's defense really was the difference maker to keep them in this game for the first 3 quarters. However, you can't expect all 4 quarters to just be your defense to play all 4 quarters against Georgia. You need your offense to do it as well, and when the defense is out there so much, it gets tired, and these Bulldogs are not a team you want to do that against. But finally, we got Miami versus NC State. Now, I was worried about this game. NC State, last week, upset Georgia Tech, number 8 Georgia Tech. Upset win, 48-36. So a multiple possession win for North Carolina State against the Yellow Jackets. So coming into Miami, they were 5-4, with the Canes coming at 8-2, or 7-2, and I mean, they just came off a big upset. They are basically playing spoiler for the rest of the season. I thought this could be a troublesome game for Miami, but it was not. C.J. Bailey, 17 completions on 30, just over 50%, 120 yards, and 2 interceptions, both of it which were caught by Jacoby Thomas, including one which was returned for a pick 6. Malachi Toney, very well. He had 1 completion for 44 yards. He threw almost a touchdown pass. Another one. He could do everything. Carson Beck had a good game. 21 of 27, 291 yards and 3 touchdowns. He has improved a lot since that SMU game, or especially that Louisville game. That Louisville game was the big one. Very shocking to me. The number 1 running back in this game, the starter, was Gerard Pringle Jr., who we have not seen a lot of this year. He had 17 carries for 116 yards, played very well. Marty Brown, 8 carries for 45 yards and a touchdown. He played well as well. On the receiving side, of course, Malachi Toney leads the team in touchdowns, 5 receptions for 54 yards and 2 touchdowns. Keelan Marion had a very strong receiving game with 7 receptions of 96 yards. And Elijah Lofton was also able to get a touchdown grab. On the defensive side, we were able to get 1 sack, and that was Akeem Mesidor. As always, it's one of those 2 ends for the Canes getting in that pressure. Carter Davis was near perfect, only missing 1 field goal. He did hit 100% on extra points, as well as Carter Davis. We only punted twice in this game. Dylan Joyce only appeared twice in this game, and both times were punts inside the 20. Just comparison, North Carolina's punter, NC State's punter came out 8 different times in this game. So, it was a very, very good game for Miami. It was a very, very good game for Miami. So the only problem is that we did have a fumble. Penalties. Looking at it, it was, you could see that penalties were really hurting Miami. 8 penalties for 75 yards. A lot of holds and stuff like that. I really am not the biggest fan of this right now. The penalties for Miami are what's hurting them the most. But now we move on to 1 week before rivalry week. And this is a big one. Well, this is a rivalry game for Miami. I'll just say that right now. And for those of you who do not know, Miami is actually rivals with Virginia Tech. Um, Virginia Tech is 3-7. Thought they were kind of worse. USC Oregon, another rival. We have some good games this week, and maybe this will shake up the college football playoffs. And we really need to see, and to see that, you guys could check out my week 13 college football preview, which will be right here. Yeah, be right there. Well, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and of course, thank you guys for subscribing. I know you subscribed, right? I know you subscribed. I know you subscribed. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been DJ. I bleed orange and green and yellow. And DJ out. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.